Welcome, friends. This is our weekly interfaith prayer and discussion that we have been having for the last 132 weeks. This is the 133rd program. The purpose of this meeting is to foster the devotional character of our society and to bring understanding among followers of different religions, the common foundation of all the religions, and to remove the religious prejudice, which is one of the serious hurdles for unity and world peace. And we just want to highlight some of the principles that we try to follow. This is based on Dr. Leonard Sugler's idea. The primary purpose is to learn, that is to change and grow in the perception and understanding of reality. Each participant must come to the dialogue with honesty and sincerity. Dialogue can take place only on basis of mutual trust, only between equals. All must come to learn from each other. During the discussion and consultation, make comments, question only related to the topic presented in an attitude of learning without discrediting any idea presented. Consult with purity of motive, express our opinion frankly as a contribution towards a common good, and without attachment to our own opinion, without belittling others' opinion. And I like to highlight the guidance that we receive from the Universal Office of Justice, the supreme administrative body of the Baha'i Faith. It says in one of the letters, whether through deeds or words, the merit of your every contribution to social well-being lies first in your resolute commitment to discover that precious point of view where contrasting perspectives overlap and around which contending peoples can coalesce. So we have to, the different opinions can be there on any topics. We have to find the common precious point of unity among these diverse opinions. That's why the merit of our contribution to the social well-being lies. So I'll call upon calling to honor the indigenous people and the land. Do you want to read this quotation as well? Because
that's right. Thank you, Siva. I'd like to acknowledge the land on which Jung and I live, which was looked after for many thousands of years by the Gadigal and Bidjigal people, whose language groups were separated by natural features such as the Brooks River and the Georges River, and of course the harbour and the coast. And from what we know about Aboriginal history and culture, they knew that they needed nature, they knew that they needed spirituality, they had strong relationships, they had love for their children, and they knew how to listen to each other and respect each other, which sounds to me like the elements of civilization. So even, I mean, we've got cars, buildings, planes, and everything else, which makes life easy, but do we have those other things? Maybe we can learn something about the spiritual basis of civilization from Indigenous people. So I'd like to very much acknowledge that they've welcomed us to their land, and we're just learning to live with each other. Thank you.
Thank you.
I've been holding for so long, scared I might slip away. Sometimes I just feel so lost, but I know that I'll find my way. Oh, I cannot lie, it's hard, sometimes I lose my mind. Constant whispers in my head, temptations I defy. But I know that if I lose your guidance, I'll go blind. That is why I need you. Oh, show me the way. Oh, don't let me stray. I need you, I beg you. Take me out of darkness into your light. I know I gotta stay strong, trying hard every day. 'Cause 100 times I've been so wrong, but I know I can make that change. Oh, I cannot lie, it's hard, sometimes I lose my mind. Constant whispers in my head, temptations I defy. But I know that if I lose your guidance, I'll go blind. Protect me, my Lord. Oh, show me the way. Oh, don't let me stray. I need you, I beg you. Take me out of darkness into your light. My Lord, I'm grateful for your mercy. Whenever I fall down, you pick me up. 'Cause you're the one who's always there for me. Oh, show me the way. Oh, don't let me stray. I need you, I beg you. Take me out of darkness into your light.
We can't hear.
O my God, unite the hearts of thy servants and reveal to them thy great purpose. May they follow thy commandments and abide in thy law. Help them, O God, in their endeavor, and grant them strength to serve thee. O God, leave them not to themselves, but guide their steps by the light of thy knowledge, and cheer their hearts by thy love. Verily, thou art their helper and their Lord. Say, no man can attain his true station except through his justice. No power can exist except through unity. No welfare and no well-being can be attained except through consultation. Baha'u'llah.
Be united, speak in harmony. Let your minds apprehend alike. Common be your prayer. Common be the end of your assembly. Common be your resolution. Common be your deliberations. Alike be your feelings. Unified be your hearts. Common be your intentions. Perfect be your unity. Rig Veda.
Now, in understanding, wrong understanding is wrong, and right understanding is right. One practice is right understanding. First step in making efforts to overcome wrong understanding and to arouse right understanding. One practices right efforts is step, and is overcoming wrong understanding with attentive mind and dwelling with attentive mind in a possession of right understanding. One practices right attentiveness. 7th step. Hence, there are 3 things that accompany and follow upon right understanding, namely right understanding, right effort, and right attentiveness. The Eightfold Path, Buddha.
Let the woman live in Ida in the same style as you live, according to your means, annoy them not, so as to restrict them. And if they carry life in thee in their wombs, then spend your substance on them until they deliver the burden. And if they suckle your offspring, give them the recompense and take mutual counsel together, according to what is just and reasonable. The Quran, Yusuf al Surah 65. The great being said, the heaven of divine wisdom is illumined with 2 luminaries of consultation and compassion. Take ye counsel together in all matters, inasmuch as consultation is the lamp of guidance which leadeth the way, and is the restorer of understanding. Baha'u'llah, Tablets of Baha'u'llah, revealed after Kitab Aqdas, page 168.
Consultation bestoweth greater awareness and transmuteth conjecture certitude. It is a shining light which, in dark world, leadeth the way, guideth. For everything there is and will continue to be a station of perfection and maturity. The maturity of the gift of understanding is more manifest through consultation. Baha'u'llah. Settle all things, both great and small, by consultation. Without prayer consultation, take no important step in your own personal affairs. Connect yourselves with one another. Help along one another's protection and give over to one another. Let none in the whole country go in need. Before one another until you become as a single body, one and all. Abdul Bahai.
Prime requisites for them that take counsel together are purity of motive, radiance of spirit, detachment from all else save God, attraction to his divine fragrances, humility and lowliness amongst his loved ones, patience and long suffering in difficulties, and servitude to his exalted. Threshold should they be graciously aided to acquire these attributes, victory from the unseen kingdom of Baha shall be vouchsafed to them. Abdul Baha.
The purpose is to emphasize the statement that consultation must have for its object the investigation of truth. He who expresses an opinion should not voice it as correct and right, but set it forth as a contribution to the consensus of opinion. For the light of reality becomes apparent when two opinions coincide. A spark is produced when flint and steel come together. Man should weigh his opinions with the utmost serenity, calmness, and composure. Before expressing his own views, he should carefully consider the views already advanced by others. Abdul Baha.
In all things, it is necessary to consult. This matter should be forcefully stressed by thee, so that the consultation may be observed by all. The intent of what had been revealed from the pen of the Most High is that consultation may be fully carried out among the friends, inasmuch as it is and will always be a cause of awareness and awakening and a source of good and well-being. Baha'u'llah.
us round the flame, making us clear, making me fly, spinning me round and round, spinning me round. Agreements of trust, under the power of love we see. Agreements of faith, under the power of love we know. Agreements of truth, under the power of love we feel. Agreements of love, under the power of love we see. Agreements of liberty, under the power of love we know. Agreements to set you free, under the power of love we feel. Agreements of trust, under the power of love we see. Agreements of faith, under the power of love we know. Agreements of truth,
In this video, which is just over 2 minutes,
I hope you enjoyed this devotional and the music. Now we are going to the part where we have two distinguished speakers. They came to rescue me because there was someone else who said that they will give a talk and they couldn't make it. So I asked anyone to volunteer. So Mr. Kalyamuthi and Dr. Ahmadanis, they volunteered to talk for about 10 to 15 minutes each. So first, Mr. Kalyamuthi, some of you would have listened to him earlier, that he spoke about Mahatma Gandhi and nonviolence satyagraha. And he also have given presentation in our weekly Wednesday peace meeting that we have in Tamil language, because he speaks Tamil. He's from South India. It's a brief description about Mr. Kalyamuthi, retired manager, Indian Oil Corporation Limited. He's a poet, writer, educationist, freelancer, and social activist. Now, those who are in the Interfaith WhatsApp group, you would have seen many, every day he sends small quotations that I believe that he makes himself these things, beautiful quotations. And he's a faculty and counseling for the IAS examination and give lectures on his awareness program in All India Radio. A committee member of Indian Red Cross Society in Karaikal, that's his hometown in South India, Tamil Nadu. He is the author of Drizzling from the Heart, anthology of English poems, and it's available in Amazon. A collection of Tamil poems, Kaliyavin Kavidahal. Kaliya is his name, Kaliyamurti, Kaliyavin Kavidahal. Now, he said that we're getting ready for publishing. I hope he has published, I don't know. Anyway, so he is going to talk about love is God. So I welcome Mr. Kaliyamurti to give his presentation. If you have any PowerPoint, you should be able to share. Welcome.
Thank you, Sirput sir, for this nice introduction. Love is God, really a beautiful subject. Dear friends of Interfaith around the world, my beloved friend Sirput sir, the creator, architect, and mentor of the beautiful creation Interfaith, conference of religions around the world. First of all, I convey my love, wishes, and thanks to Interfaith for offering me the wonderful opportunity of interacting with you. Love is God. What a lovely conception, and conceived and preached by all religions of the universe. The great Hindu religion saint Swami Vivekananda told in Chicago, US, about the religions that all rivers flowing to the confluence of the ocean. All religions talking about love and going to merge in the God. See, that is all the rivers. See, all rivers going for confluence in the sea. Like that, all religions flowing with love and reaches God. God, whatever God you think, whatever religion you speak, maybe nature or all are God and with love. In Hindu mythology, they preach Anbe Shivam. Anbu means love. In Tamil, we will call Anbu. It is in English called love. And Shiva means Lingam. The God symbolizes both for savior of the world and denotes the manly good for creation. Shivam, man, plus Shakti, woman, creates the world, confidence, and create the world, and the undercurrent is love. Now we will go for Christianity. In Christianity, love is God. The love of God is a prevalent concept both in the Old Testament and the New Testament. Love is a key attribute of God in Christianity, even if in the New Testament the expression God is love explicitly occur only twice and no two different verses. 1 John 4 is 18, 16 that clearly mention God is love. The love of God has been the center of the spirituality of a number of Christian mystics. Now we will go for Islam. Love for God in Islam. Attributes that are obtained by the Muslims are fear of God and love for God. The fear of God and love for God. The last being the highest reason to worship. There are love in Islam, we can explain. Conception. 1. Love to Allah. 2. Love for Allah above all. Love to Allah. Love for Allah above all. 3. Love is the essence of faith. Love is the essence of faith. I'll go for Baha'u'llah. See, I am choosing 3 world religions: one, Hinduism, Christianity, Islam, now Baha'u'llah. What does Baha'i teach about love? What does Baha'i teach about love? Love is heavenly light. Love is heavenly light. Love is the cause of God's revelation into man. Love is the cause of God's revelation unto man. All love that exists in the world originated from God. All love exists in this world, all originated from God. What a beautiful conception. This is different types of defined by Bahu, Baha'i about love. They are one, God's love for humanity. Number one, very important, God's love for humanity. Number two, humanity's love for God. See, God's love for humanity. Number two, humanity love for God. Three, God's love for the identity of God. What a beautiful concept. God's love for the identity of God and humanity love for each other. Humanity love for each other. Baha'i beautifully explains what is love, what is God, and how each humanity is love for each other. So, since the time is very, very short and Mr. Shivpuri told only 10 minutes, so these are the gist from 4 religions I have taken. Yes, since the time is very restricted, I have limited myself to the 4 mighty religions for explaining love in its God and vice versa. Really, indeed, a great pleasure to immerse in the great ocean of religions to pick pearls of love and present to them. Fondly, I remember the previous occasions I interacted with you all in the following topics, Mahatma Gandhiji and Mahan Aravindan. Thank you, one and all. And of course, a special thanks to our lovely friend Shobri in Australia. Let us unite mankind by love, unity, peace. Let us unite mankind by love, unity, peace, and definitely all gods will be with us only if you follow all these three throughout the world. Because we are now the world is mongering war, peace, hatred, religion. So we should use all these as true tools to lift the mankind. Avoid war. This definitely all religions preaching, but very pity no one is following. And this is our Russian war. Now recent example. By quoting our great Indian poet Mahakavi Bharatiya, I will tell in Tamil, then I will tell in English. இனி ஒரு விதி செய்வோம், அதை எந்நாளும் காப்போம். We will create a law for now and save it all day. We will create a law today and we will save it all day, and that law should be spread peace through love, God, and whatever God you like. And before finishing my speech, I want to read one of my poems from my book. Topic: In the mood for love. The title is In the mood for love. Slowly walking along with the river. Slowly walking along with the river. Flowing steam twinkling at me. Flowing steam twinkling at me. In the mood for love. Enchanting flowers blossoming silently. Enchanting flowers blossoming silently. Spreading fragrance, captivating intently. Spreading fragrance, captivating intently. Yes, in the mood for love. We met. The inevitable happens. We met. The inevitable happens. Time sit between us. Time sit between us in the mood for love. This may be your God or your lover or whatever you love. This is a mood for love. See, once again, thank you all for giving the golden opportunity to speak with you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kalyamuthi.
You will finish within 10 minutes?
Yes, you have done a very good job because as I told earlier that the challenges that we face, especially
Yes, I knew.
When we have friends from other countries with terminologies that are not very familiar, and also because we wanted to give other person also the opportunity to talk, so we wanted to have 10 to 15 minutes. But I think it was a beautiful presentation. Now we will leave the questions. So friends, you can note down whatever you want to ask. And after Ahmed also finishes his talk, then we can jointly discuss those questions. So now, with your permission, I will introduce our next speaker. This is Dr. Ahmed Anis. He has a mixed educational background in engineering and medicine. He's got BSc, MSc, medical physics in UK, PhD in medicine in University of New South Wales. Experience consists of a number of roles, including associate lecturer, research officer, technical support officer, and database manager across various academic institutions in New South Wales. It should be Ahmed, but somehow he has been extensively involved in medical data collection and research projects in various institutions. His interests are theological and astronomy topics, currently medical researcher and database manager. So he is an ardent supporter of the Interfaith group, regular participants and contributor in comments and questions and discussions. And he has given presentation twice before too. So I welcome Ahmed to give his presentation for 10 to 15 minutes on his topic, that is the similarity between various religious texts.
Oh yeah, thank you, Siva. I'm sorry if I'm not prepared because we talked together yesterday and he asked me to volunteer to give a talk, and I've prepared a kind of combination or collation of some readings from Abdul Baha to read for you, because 24 hours is not enough time to prepare a talk. But I've collated them such the way that it would be a presentation like a talk and the topic that I wanted to present. So let me just share before I go further the readings. So the topic is teachings of the prophets of God are one, the similarity of the teachings of various religions. So Abdullah has given many talks on this topic, and he's gone all over different places, Paris, America, and given such talks to show that teachings of the prophets of God are one. So I've selected some readings from his talks, and I'm presenting them tonight. So I'm going to read them and give you headings for each reading so that we can comprehend or go through this concept. So let me see whether. Do you have my share on your screen?
Yeah, we can see it. You can share the readings, and then we can ask one of the participants to read. If
before going ahead, we have to find out where these readings come from and the hierarchy that is there in religions. So Abdullah says that there are two kinds of prophets. And the question that was put to him is, how many kinds of prophets are there in general? And his answer is this: prophets are in general of two kinds. Some are independent prophets who are followed, while others are not independent and are themselves followers. The independent prophets are each the author of a divine religion and the founder of a new dispensation. At their advent, the world is clothed in a new attire, a new religion is established, and a new book revealed. These prophets acquire the outpouring grace of divine reality without an intermediary. Their radiance is an essential radiance like that of the sun, which is luminous in and of itself, and whose luminosity is an essential requirement rather than being acquired from another star. They are like the sun and not the moon. These days springs of the morn of divine unity are the fountain heads of divine grace and the mirrors of essence of reality. He also says the other kind of prophets are followers and promulgators, for their station is contingent rather than independent. They acquire divine grace from the independent prophets and seek the light of guidance from the reality of universal prophethood. They are like the moon, which is not luminous and radiant in and of itself, but which receives its light from the sun. The universal prophets who have appeared independently include Abraham, Moses, Christ, Muhammad, Baha'u'llah, Buddha, and Krishna, as many as you would know. The second kind, which consists of the followers and promulgators, include like Solomon, David, Isaiah, Jeremiah, and Isaac. For the independent prophets of founders, that is, they establish a new religion, recreate the souls, regenerate the morals of society, and promulgate a new way of life and a new standard of conduct. Through them, a new dispensation appears, and a new religion is inaugurated. Their advent is even as the springtime when all earthly things on a new garment and find a new life. As to the second kind of prophets who are followers, they promulgate the religion of God, spreading his faith and proclaim his word. They have no power or authority of their own, but derive theirs from the independent prophets. Now, he also he was asked, what about Buddha and Confucius? And the question is, to which category do Buddha and Confucius belong? And he says, Buddha also established a new religion, and Confucius renewed the ancient conduct and morals. But the original precepts have been entirely changed, and their followers no longer adhere to the original pattern of belief or worship. The founder of Buddhism was a precious being who established the oneness of God, but later his original precepts were gradually forgotten and displaced by primitive customs and rituals, until in the end it led to the worship of statues and images. Consider, for example, that Christ admonished the people time and again to heed the 10 commandments of the Torah and insisted upon their strict observance. Now, one of the 10 commandments forbids the worship of images and statues. Yet today, there are mirrored images and statues in the churches of certain Christian denominations. It is clear and evident then that the religion of God does not preserve its original precepts among the people, but that it is gradually changed and altered to a point of being entirely effaced, and thus a new manifestation appears and a new religion is established. For if the former religion had not been changed and altered, there would be no need for renewal. In the beginning, this tree, and he gives an example here. In the beginning, this tree was full of vitality and laden with blossoms and fruits, but gradually it grows old, spent, and barren until it entirely withered and decayed. That is why the true gardener will again plant a tender sapling of the same stock, that it may grow and develop day by day, extend its sheltering shade in this heavenly garden, and yield its prized food. So it is with the divine religions. With the passage of time, their original precepts are altered. Their underlying truth entirely vanishes. The spirit departs, heresies spring up, and they become a body without a soul. That is why they are renewed. Our meaning is that the followers of Buddha and Confucius now worship images and statues and have become entirely unaware of the oneness of God, believing instead in imaginary gods, and did the ancient Greeks. But such were not the original precepts. Indeed, their original precepts and conduct were entirely different. Again, consider what an extent the original precepts of Christian religion have been forgotten and how many heresies have sprung up. For example, Christ forbade violence and revenge and enjoined instead that evil and injury be met with benevolence and loving kindness. But observe how many bloody wars have taken place among the Christian nations themselves, and how much oppression, cruelty, rapacity, and bloodthirstiness have resulted therefrom. Indeed, many of these wars were carried out of the behest of the popes. It is therefore abundantly clear that with the passage of time, sorry, my readings are a bit off here. I lost it. Well, he says that in the passage of time, these concepts have kind of vanished, and other things have overtaken. So I'm wondering how I could get rid of this section. No. Oh yeah. Now let's go to another concept: the power and perfection of divine manifestations. He was asked, how far do the powers and the perfections of these thrones of truth, the manifestations of God, extend, and what are the limits of their influence? He answers like this: consider the world of existence, that is the material creation. The solar system is wrapped in darkness. Within its circumstances, the sun is the center of all light, and all the associated planets revolve around it and are illumined by the outpourings of its bounty. The sun is the source of life and light, and is the cause of the growth and development of all things within the solar system. Were the bounty of the sun to cease, no living thing would continue to exist therein. All things would grow dark and be reduced to naught. It is therefore clear and evident that the sun is the center of all light and the source of the life of all things in the solar system. In like manner, the holy manifestations of God are the focal centers of the light of truth, the wellspring of the hidden mysteries, and the source of the effulgence of divine love. They cast their effulgence upon the realm of hearts and minds, and bestow grace everlasting upon the world of the spirit. They confer spiritual life and shine with the splendor of inner truth and meanings. The enlightenment of the realm of thought proceeds from those centers of light and exponents of mysteries. Were it not for the grace of the revelation and instruction of those sanctified beings, the world of souls and the realm of thought will become darkness upon darkness. Were it not for the sound and true teachings of those exponents of mysteries, the human world would become the arena of animal characteristics and qualities. All existence would become a vanishing illusion, and true life would be lost. That is why it is said in the gospel, in the beginning was the word. That is, it was the source of all life. Now consider the pervasive influence of the sun upon unearthly beings. He gives another example, a metaphor. And behold what visible effects and outcomes result from its proximity and remoteness, its rising and setting. At one time it is autumn, and another it is spring. At one time it is summer, and at another time it's winter. When the sun crosses equinox, the life-giving spring appears in all its splendor. And when it reaches the summer solstice, the fruits attain the full maturity, grains and plants yield their produce, and earthly things attain plenitude of their growth and development. In like manner, when the holy manifestations of God, who is the Son of the world of creation, cast his splendor upon the world of hearts, minds, and spirits, a spiritual springtime is ushered in, and a new life is unveiled. The power of the matchless springtide appears, and its marvelous gifts are beheld. Thus, you observe that when the advent of each of the manifestations of God, astonishing progress was attained in the realm of human minds, thoughts, and spirits. Consider, for example, the progress that had been achieved in this divine age in the world of mind and thoughts. And this is only the beginning of the dawn. Ere long, you will witness how these renewed bounties and heavenly teachings have flooded his dark sown world and their light and transformed this sorrow-laden realm into the highest paradise. Well, I think I can't see the rest of this, so I'll jump to the next.
Can I maybe, because we don't want to go over the time, maybe you can summarize the three concepts that you have read, just briefly summarize, and then.
Okay, I won't read the quotations, maybe one or two of them. The next topic that is important in this is that human and divine stations of manifestations. The manifestations of God have three stations. So he in these quotations, he says that there are three stages in a manifestation: human body, the individual reality, and the spirit, the Holy Ghost. And he says that this human body will perish like anybody else. The individual reality shows different nature, like Moses was different to Christ, Christ was different to Muhammad, and so on. So then their individual reality is different. But what is the common thing in them, which I'm going to read that quotation, is the third station is that of the divine grace, the revelation of the bounty of the Ancient of Days, and the effulgence of the light of the ever-living and omnipotent Lord. The individual realities of the holy manifestation cannot be separated from divine grace and revelation any more than the corporal mass of the sun can be separated from the light. So it describes the metaphor of a sun again, that that inherent thing is in them. And so that's why they are manifestations of God. Now I go to the next topic of it, the connection between God and his manifestations. Now it says, what is the reality of the divinity and its connection to the spring of Lord's splendor and the dawning place of the light of the merciful? Now, in these quotations, he describes that the essence of divine God is unknowable to anyone. And because we are man and a lower state, we can never comprehend his existence. Anything that we can imagine as God is just an imagination of our thoughts and mind. And it has no relationship to that existence. So let me see if I can read one of these quotes. See, it is evident that whatsoever man understands is a consequence of his existence, and that man is a sign of the All-Merciful. How then can the consequence of the sign encompass the creator of the sign? That is, how can human understanding, which is the consequence of man's existence, comprehend God? Thus, the reality of the divine lies hidden for all understanding and is concealed from the minds of all men. And to ascend to that station is in no wise possible. So he also says that the manifestations of God are like mirrors, and these mirrors shine that reflection that comes from that source, that God. He also goes to the topic of the need for education and why religion comes really. And he describes education is three kinds: material, human, spiritual. And he goes through them, and then he eventually comes to the spiritual one that he says, this is a long quotation, but it's nice to read it. Now we need an educator who can be at the same time a material, a human, and a spiritual educator. That is, authority may have effect at every degree of existence. And should anyone say, I am endowed with perfect reason and comprehension and have no need for such an educator, he will be denying the obvious. Man stands in need of an educator. This educator must undeniably be perfect in every way and distinguished above all men. For if he were like others, he would never be their educator, particularly since he must at once be their material, human, and spiritual educator. And he says further on that these manifestations are those type of educators. Now, going to another topic on this.
No, Ahmad, I think we will stop there. And if there are questions, you can elaborate those ideas in the question and discussion. Because
let me just spend a few more minutes to go to the final slide that I have, because I want to show that the teachings of all religions are one. Okay. Let me just read the headings, and then maybe you would get it.
Okay.
He talks about the return of the prophets, why they come. Will you explain the subject of return? And he brings that seasoning thing, spring, summer, autumn, and winter, and he describes that this is what happens to humanity, and as a result, we need those new educators. And then he goes, there are two aspects for any religion. The divine laws have two distinct aspects. One is the essential and fundamental, and the other is material and accidental. And in his talks, he explains the difference between these two, that some are just laws that change by time, and they need to be renewed. He gives the example of law of death in the faith of Moses, and why Christ abolished it, and so on. So he talks about these two aspects.
Did you say law of death?
Law of death, yeah. Moses had this law of death, and then Christ rejected it or abolished it. He also goes into these spiritual cycles that every so often a new manifestation comes with renewing the laws and teachings, but the fundamental aspects remain the same. So when Christ says, love your neighbor, Baha'u'llah says also love your neighbor, or Muhammad says love your neighbor, or Moses, or Abraham, or whatever, all these manifestations. So those spiritual aspects remain the same. The thing that we should grasp here is the changing law of God. So why we have these different manifestations is that the laws that, going back to that slide, the essential and fundamental and the material and accidental, the material and accidental laws change because human time changes. And we need renewal of those things. Whereas those essential and fundamental laws, they remain the same, but because time changes, there comes corruption into the thoughts of man regarding those aspects, like love your neighbor. And look at what we see today. Every day there's a crime, there's a killing that is reported. So we are living in a time when these material and accidental laws have to change in order to have a proper human life on this planet. So I hope that I have shown to you that that many laws of religions are same and they're not changing. The things that change are material laws. Okay.
Thank you very much. I think it's a big topic that
it is big topic.
We should have kept a separate session for it.
Yeah.
But I wanted to restrict the presentation to 10 to 15 minutes so that totally both the speakers would have spent. Anyway, now it's now, if you friends, you can show us use the reaction button to ask questions or comments, and like this that I have done, you can show your hands if you have to ask questions. And we have Colin and Young, and then I will have questions afterwards. Colin.
Thank you to both of the speakers, and I thought that was the topic which Mr. Kalyamurthy chose really said it all, but almost said exactly what Ahmed was saying, that God is love, because God is unknowable, but what can we know? We can know love. And so I think that's probably a wonderful starting point for interfaith dialogue. And from that, just about everything else in creation unfolds. So I really appreciated that. Thank you. Thank you both.
Thank you, Colin and Young. Better unmute. No. Anyone else? Barry, Pina, Sandy, Robert, Giselle. Okay, Young.
Yeah, I got a very simple questions for both of Ahmad and Mr. Kalyamurthy. The manifestation of God has three stations. Human body first, second soul, the third the heavenly manifestation. So if you ever look into the apparition of Virgin Mary appear to the three shepherds in Fatima, you will see the three children under the age of 10 could not need to go through three stations to experience the apparitions of Virgin Mary, go through God divine. So therefore I said, people still can perceive God without to have to go through three stations. And with the consultation and love, you see, if you want to run unity, you will have to pay millions of dollars or billions of dollars to run through unity, because in the past, as you experience, people spend money and budget on diversity training, but not as much as I see in unity training. If you go to a large organization, billions of dollars run, you see how they train diversity, EEO, equal employment opportunities. Just like we're going to have election coming, say yes or no. Why we say, why we need consultation? Obviously, we don't need consultation. If God is love and love is God, we only need one square. Yes. That's humanity, is love, and is God. So why we have to put extra square? No, because it makes issue more complicated, and you don't need that. Thank you.
Siva, you are muted.
You want to respond, Ahmed?
Well, as I showed you on the talks that came from Abdul Baha, he says that God is really whatever we have in our minds and thoughts are our imaginations. We can never comprehend that essence. Okay, so our access to that essence is limited. And what we could understand is the attributes and principles that his manifestations bring to this world. And through those things, we can understand the love of God. So obviously, if we have that love of God, it's manifested from our love for our manifestation like Christ or Muhammad, or in my case, Baha'u'llah. So I think you have to look at it this way. We are part of nature. We can never understand nature, okay? Because we are limited. And it is the same for God and us, because it's like Abdul Baha gives a beautiful example, and that is a chair and a carpenter. And he says that carpenter knows why he's making the chair. The chair, he's got a purpose for it. But the chair can never understand what purpose the chair has, or himself has, or itself has, because its understanding is limited. The chair can never understand it's there for a human being to sit on it, okay? So our understanding of God is like that. The chair can never comprehend the carpenter, and we can never comprehend the God. So whatever we have, it's our limited understanding, our impression that we have of God. Yeah. So the only way is through manifestations of God to understanding. But that doesn't mean that we cannot converse with God, because he's brought prayers, he's brought teachings that he says that, you know, converse with me because I love your creation. So, you know, in Baha'u'llah's quotations, we find many places where he says love of God is important. So I'll leave it to Mr. Kalimoti if he wants to say anything else.
Do you have any comments, Mr. Kaliyamurthy? You had to unmute. You had to unmute, we can't hear you. No, I can't hear you. Okay.
Yes, actually, she asked a nice question. Love is God, correct? Love and God are not different things. Each religion predicts separately, but love and God are same. Like computer, you are having a password. Just to read, the password is love. So love is God, God is love, same thing. So we need not go for a lot of definitions and we go so deep inside. There also it come, finally God will be there, love will be there. So as a symbol form, love is God. We can finish like that.
I think the children, they can feel God much easier, so much easier than most of the people, because the children are they pure, they angels, they supposed to be angels. And you said that in one of the reading, you said the original precepts of the Christian religion have been forgotten. I don't think so. I think with the people who really want to read the Bible, they will remember what they read, unless, they fall into sickness. But the issue is we need good instructors. We need somebody who really understands the Bible and explain the Bible properly. Maybe we don't understand God as much as we should, but however, just like a little baby, they feel the love of their mother, just like warmth and milk and love. They got no idea what the mother looked like if they was only like 6 months old, but they felt love. That's why when they cry, the mother hold them, and then they stop crying. So if we become so intellectual, it will be harder for us that God come to us. That's how the history has told us.
Yeah, I think I agree with you. The more that we become intellectual, we try to understand things through the intellectual, then it becomes harder to see the attributes of God. And I also agree that children are so innocent and pure, so their connection with the Creator is much more direct. And
I have to say here that he tries to help us to understand and to love him through the prayers. Many religions have different prayers that bring this connection between us as humans and that essence, which is God.
Thank you. Okay, now let's go to Sandy and then Tracy. Sandy, we are not. Oh, is it my friend from Canberra? Sandy?
Yes,
Okay.
both good talks. But just a comment on Mr. Kalyamurthy's talk. My understanding of what he mentioned about Anbesivam is the selfless love, because there is it's a qualified love where the person is selfless. That means he's without ego, and he connects with all as one. That is what God is. That is my understanding of Anbesivam. Anyway, Mr. Kalyamurthy can maybe add further.
Do you want to comment, Mr. Kalyamurthy?
What she's telling?
He said.
So voice very low, feeble. Tell me.
All right. When he said Anbesivam, that is love is God. That is that love should be selfless love. Then it becomes that the quality of God or whatever.
Yes, definitely. Selfless love. See, take Bible. Jesus, why he crucified? Just to the love for they are not doing the sins without their knowledge. So for the love only, he himself get that crucifixion. In the Hindu religion, you take directly. You don't pray God. You help the just the going for pray God. You help them feed food, just to fill their stomach. That is God. For them, it is God. See, each religion, it is love is differently. They are telling. Take Islam. See, they are taking 1 month this viradam. And not taking even fasting, not taking food, not taking water, just to release mankind. See, to think for others, to release others, we have to suffer ourselves. That is also one of our love. By doing that, we reach God, we see God.
Simon, can I raise a point here? That Baha'u'llah says that be very careful your pure love might become a curtain to obstruct your reasoning. Because if you don't reason properly, because of that affection that you have, like it's like, I give you a metaphor. As a parent, you love your children.
Right.
But if the child wants cookies and chocolates all the time, okay, if I love that child extensively without reasoning, my love gonna cause problems. So I have to use reasoning in order to make that love proper. Yeah. So yes, there is a place for love or pure love, but it has to be based on reasoning. Otherwise, it's not love, it's an imagination of our thoughts.
Okay.
Yes, I agree with Ahmad's comment, because there is a point there. Because the selfless love comes without expectations. Because it is selfless. Because the person who is loving has no ego, and he sees all as one. So I agree with that point, yes. So there are two things, yes, selfless love, and it follows it is without expectations. So suppose if I do something to someone, I have no expectation of return. So it is just a one way.
Okay, thank you. And let's listen to Tracy.
Well, anyway, it's interesting that, we all are sort of designed to hunger for that direct experience of God's love and to live in that love. There's a part of us that God created to have that direct relationship with God, which is one of love and gratitude and respect. But also, what Ahmed is saying, the teaching, you need to, in some ways, God's love for us is full of grace and unconditionalness, but also God is trying to raise us up that we can give that to other people and that we can have a just society. And helping, we're always going to have young people, and yes, little babies are innocent and immediately know where to get food, but then they need that education and that the steps to be able to reach maturity themselves so that they can also give, as well as receiving unconditional love, they then become capable of giving that to others. So you need education, and education provides steps, but also a bit of pruning for our confusion and our false imaginings. Because sometimes we can go off all la-di-da, and a good teaching can prune you back and ground you, because you can say you love your baby, but if you don't feed them and you don't change their diapers, you're not really loving them very well, So we need the combination to really have, a balanced life and also really bring that maturity and capability in our society that people's full potential, our divine potential can be realized, But anyway, the different teachings, I read the Bible every day. I read other teachings. I come here and I hear all the other teachings. We have a spiritual hunger for greater knowledge and greater steps of how can we learn from other people's experience, to have that bigger mind and heart. But anyway, thank you both for contributing to my spiritual education and reminding that God is love.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. And
Baha'u'llah says in his hidden words, I love thy creation, hence I created thee. Love me that I may love thee.
Okay, Giselle has said, please excuse me from participating in discussion tonight. I was working in my practice today and drove home to the Hunter Valley. Okay. Pina, your comments or question?
I just want to say that to thank God, I read that says to thank God is to love one another.
Correct.
Yes.
Thank you.
If we love one another, definitely the thanks will go to God.
Actually, Abdul says, if you want to love me, love my fellow human beings.
Thank you. And Barry, Robert, do you have any comments or questions? If not, I will. Barry? No. Robert? Yeah, well, first of all, I thank Mr. Kalyamuthi. I really appreciate that you have actually gone into the details about love and God in different religions, and you quoted from them. That was very fascinating. That shows that you are open-minded and you are really spreading the love among people. So I thank you for that. I'm still trying to learn this concept. In your talk, Mr. Kalyamuthi, you mentioned about, that was in Islam, that when you're saying that fear of God and love of God, I really don't understand fully what is this fear of God. What is your understanding, Kalyamuthi?
Fear of God.
Fear of God.
Fear of God. Actually, if you speak openly, we need not have fear. Why we should have fear? First, we should fear only for our consciousness. Fear. See, God is always lovable. God is always helpful. God is always, when you go for any help, they will help. If you have fear of God, means you are failing in your duties. If you are failing in your duties, day-to-day duties, or help others, it is definitely you should have something. You should have fear of God. Fear of God, nothing but individual. You can tell mistakes. That is fear of God. As far as I'm concerned.
Okay, thank you. And one question to Ahmed. You mentioned that in the first slide or second slide, that when the religion that came before, because of their teachings were, the true teachings were lost.
That's for Buddha and Confucius.
Yes, when you were reading about Buddha and Confucius, but I think Abdul Baha was referring to all the religions.
All the religions, yeah.
Yeah, when after some time, the dogmas and traditions, they come into these things, and then the true the teachings somehow lost.
Lost, yeah.
And I maybe I misunderstood, but I heard that it was said that that is why it is a renewal comes. But in the latter part, when there are two types of teachings, the spiritual or the eternal teachings, they don't change in the religions. like we had to love one another, we had to be honest, and things like that. And then the social or the practical teachings, they are the one that's changing, and that is the reason we see the different religions. If so how do we reconcile those two understanding? That is, in the first part, it was that because the original pristine teachings of the manifestation of God was corrupted or it became changed, therefore it has to be renewed. That's why a new manifestation comes.
He says,
but the spiritual, but on the other side of it is the spiritual teachings are the same. Otherwise, there's no change. The change is because of the social teachings. If that is the reason a new religion has to come, how do we reconcile those two ideas?
well, he says that this corruption, this change, is made by man.
Yes.
And when this happens, the spirit of that faith disappears from it. As a result, a renewal is needed. And that's why God sends different manifestations. And he says that there are two fundamental aspects of a religion, the spiritual aspects and the social aspects. And he says that time changes the social aspects of life. So that aspect has to change. It's not absolute. And as a result, that section of the faith has to come and be renewed, definitely. But he says that those principles, the spiritual principles, remain the same. I think Buddha says the same thing, love your neighbor. If you look at the writings that are attributed to Buddha, you see that he says, love your neighbors. Those are spiritual aspects. But social things have changed. I would say, I don't know, I might disagree with Jung, that the rituals that have penetrated different faiths are not from God. We see today I don't know whether you guys saw the ceremony of King George, our new king. So many Charles, sorry, Charles, I said, sorry, Charles. I watched it fully because I come from England, from UK. I was brought up in UK. So I looked at it and said, oh, there's so many rituals in there. The faith of Christ has changed. Christ was a person without shoes in, wilderness. These rituals of gold handing to one another or putting, water and things like that. I know they have meanings, but the rituals that have penetrated the Christianity. Okay, same thing has happened to Islam. Same thing has happened to other older religions. So you have to be careful. You have to reason and see why these things have happened. And Abdullah says the reason for these is because man corrupts faith. Man separates, makes sex out of faith. So that's why there is a need for renewal every so often. And we can't, ignore or say the other religions do not exist. They're there. So there must be a reason for them to be there. Yeah. And if we look at it carefully, we find that the reason for them to be there is because that renewal is needed. And we need every so often a renewal of social aspects of life, which in human beings change. Look, 100 years ago, still people were driving around on a horse. I want to give a talk later on. I'll ask Siva to put me on. And that's, I just mentioned it. It's a book from Englishman called A Year Among Persians that I would like to give. I haven't prepared it, but I'd love to show that to you guys.
Yeah.
100 years ago, they were on horsebacks. Now we send, we mission to Mars. Soon we're going to go to Mars. Life of humanity has changed. So the social aspects have to change.
Okay.
No longer we can say an eye for an eye, because the laws don't validate it anymore.
Thank you very
The
much.
social life wasn't validated.
And I think Mr. Kalyamuthi mentioned in his talk that Swami Vivekananda explained that different religions are like rivers going to the sea, and they are all taking to one final destination.
Exactly. But we have to remember this. All of these religions are from the same source,
That's
God.
right. Yes.
All manifestations are the same. They are like the sun that comes in different times. It's still the sun is the same sun.
That's right. Okay. Now we have Tracy and then Bahare and then Sandy.
Well, the other thing we have to keep in mind that as we've had all those examples of, corruption coming in, or that society needs other answers, that it can happen to anybody, any group. We all have to be mindful that it's not that it happens to other people and other faiths, because every faith thinks, well, I'm all right with God. Those other ones have missed the point, or they need reforming, or we're the answer to their problem. We all have to realize any of us can become arrogant, can lose our spiritual humility, and we need to actually guard against that.
Exactly.
And sort of, realize that we'd be grateful for the fingers pointing us in the right direction, but we have to follow the fingers to God and not become too attached to the fingers.
Absolutely.
That they're serving a purpose, and we thank the manifestations and the Christ figures and the sacrificial saints and sages and whoever for pointing us in the right direction. But unless we actually look at where they're pointing and follow and make actions in our daily life, we will miss the point, and then we'll just be focused on those fingers and thinking that that's copying that is the main game. But actually, we're not meant to be God's grandchildren or, under the umbrella of somebody. God wants to have that direct relationship with all of us. And it takes, we all of us need to be careful. It's to go that spiritual journey of love and wisdom, not easy.
Yes.
These manifestations of God are really spiritual educators that God sends for us.
That's right.
They are one and the same.
Thank you. Bahare.
But I have to say goodnight too. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Thank you.
Just want to refer to the renewal of each religion and the history of any religion. That's, as was briefly mentioned, that every religion has like a season. It's like a spring, a summer, then autumn, then winter, because this period will show that when the religion comes, is appropriate for that time. These are the needs of the people are met at the time that religion came. As time goes by, these social teachings are not relevant. That's why people keep adding to it and branches into different sects and find all kinds of ways to twist all these laws and interpret it the way that suits them at that time. So that would show that this religion needs to be renewed. I think This is a period in history. So when the religion is renewed, as it was mentioned, is on base of the needs of society, the religion and social teaching comes about. The spiritual teaching, as was mentioned over and over by all the speakers and all the participants, spiritual teaching never changed because this is the basic, this is the foundation. But social teaching had to be changed because of the need of people.
Mm-hmm.
Because humanity needs certain new rules that is applicable. If the rules of the Muhammad was perfect at the time, it's not applicable anymore because humanity moved. As humanity changed, for example, humanity in history, everything kind of renewed. Everything renewed. Nothing has stayed the same. It was mentioned. Jung was mentioning about, for example, one of you was mentioning that at the time, like they were using horses and donkeys. Imagine they want to use horse and donkey for today. So the time has changed, and not the time, is the need of people. I just wanted to touch on that.
Yeah, life is in move. A year ago, we're not the same as the year past. Life is in move all the time. Things change.
Thank you. And Sandy?
It's about your question on the fear of God. I think there is a saying, yes, it is true, there is a saying, but my opinion is that it has to be contextualized.
Mm-hmm.
It is not, in my opinion, a general statement because it is made to deter the people who do sin. That is my understanding.
To deter people
who perform sinful actions.
Right.
Yeah, because otherwise, normally we should not fear God. We should love God, and we should venerate God, but not fear God. But that is it's given with the perspective. Yes, that is what my opinion is. And also, say, for example, what Ahmed mentioned, corruption is again another the great sin. No, because our country, Sri Lanka, go on to the precipice with corruption.
Well, the corruption that what mentioned was that the pure pristine teachings of the past religions was changed. That's what the word corruption was. But anyway.
Also, if I may add, and yes, I think Tracy, Tracy mentioned about the triggers we get sometimes when somebody, tries to create some issue with you. So, but Lord Buddha had given tools to just watch those situations. And that is a very different topic anyway. And also to control the senses. Because I will give you one example. Because suppose you have to watch your thoughts and say for example, if say Mr. Kalyamuthi is giving something, telling something to me which is hurting me or some, for example. So before I respond, what Lord Buddha's the recommendation of the proposition is, so you heard it from the ear because he was putting it out of his mouth. You heard it from the ear, but don't let what you heard from the ear to be responded by your mouth. If the ear wants to respond, let it respond.
Can I mention something here for the wrath of God or the fear of God?
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to give you a metaphor. The metaphor that I brought about the parent and the kid. If the kid wants chocolates all the time, the parents have to restrict that child, otherwise that child gets sick. So this is kind of a metaphor for fear of God and wrath of God. because God really doesn't have a wrath, but that education of parent to respect to the child in preventing the child to have chocolates all the time, it's a metaphor that can be used for wrath of God, that God is trying to educate us, and the child must have fear of the parent to know that that parent would not allow the child to continuously have the chocolates. So
I think
this is like that. I think the fear of God and the wrath of God is can be explained by this metaphor.
it may be something deeper. We may
of course it's deeper.
Delve into, but I thought the fear has probably has a different meaning, like a deep respect for someone. That's how because I do not want to interpret the fear of God in the sense that we use fear in normal discussions. If I fear the police will come, or if I fear the thief will come, the feeling that is aroused in those situations, I don't want to feel that kind of feeling with God. So it must be something else. And I thought, and I actually was looking for meanings of fear. And one of the meanings was that having respect, deep respect for someone. So it may be that having, when you have the CEO coming to you, or the principal, when your student comes to you, walking towards you, the deep respect you have for that personality is different from, oh, the principal is going to cane me, I don't know what I have done. It's a different kind of emotions or feeling. I think that is what I thought. Maybe we can talk about it later, because now it is 9 o'clock here in Sydney. Jung, briefly, and then Pina, and then we will close.
Talk about fear. I think it's very interesting subject, because God do make people fear of him. I mean, some people he gave some people more hard time than the other. So you have to accept that. And you say love is blind. And why God love all of us? He's not blind. Love is blind. And then I must say that we have to have rational. After you have all the ideas about rational, then you stop loving somebody. And that is not God. God love with compassion and mercy. Merciful.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I agree with you, Jung. In fact, in one of the, I think it's in Seven Valleys, isn't it? That he said, in the city, the heaven of rapture is upraised, and the world illumining sun yearning shineth, and the fire of love is set ablaze. And when the fire of love is ablaze, it burneth to ashes the house of reason.
I took my car to Circle and Carriage.
It burneth to ashes the harvest of reason. When the fire of love is ablaze, the harvest of reason is lost. So, intellectual and reasoning for love, I think I agree with Jung, your point of view. Thank you. And Pina, the last comment. You have to unmute and talk.
All filter casket.
Yes. Okay. So actually, as mentioned already by by our speaker, Mr. Kalyamurti, that God is love. And what is this fear? It's because of love. We fear to disappoint our beloved. We fear to disrespect the one who loves us better or more than we love ourselves. He created us because he loved us, first of all. Before even he created us, and the hidden word, it says, I love thy creation, hence I created thee. Wherefore do thou love me, that I may name thy name and fill thy soul with the spirit of life. So if we love him back, we will have the spirit of life. We'll be so happy. And God is happy for us for that. But there is reward and punishment. There is punishment, of course. Otherwise, there's no reason why we want to do good.
Yeah, Baha'u'llah says in another question, love me for sake of loving me, not for your
Yes.
desires or, you know.
Exactly.
Yeah. Quotation exactly.
That's true. That's very
what
true.
it is.
Everything that we do, it should be because of love. We fear because of love. We fast. We do the fasting. We obey God because of love. We pray because of love. You see, the highest form of prayer is that when we love God, we even if that will be the cause of hell or fire, because we love God, we do it. Even that will cause death. Many have given their lives and continuing the love of their faith, holding on to the faith. I cannot recant my faith. This is my life itself. This is my faith itself. How could you take that away? There's no choice.
Another thing,
also say that you have to have a reasoning
Uh,
there, because love could become a veil to you, and we have to be very careful here. Love can also become a veil, not to recognizing that true beloved.
Thank you. And
That's right.
Kalyamurti wants to say something.
Our fear to death only makes us move close to God.
Fear to death.
What she told, it is the same thing. See, our fear to death, so makes us do a lot of lovable things and move close to God.
Okay, thank you very much,
Thank you.
Mr. Kalyamurti and Dr. Ahmad Anis. Thank you for giving the presentation and make this lovely discussion here today. And we, by the way, about the Buddhist philosophies, many friends say that according to Buddhism, there's no God or something like that. I found someone, his name is David Ray Lance. He is in Thailand. I found a video. I must have sent it on the in Facebook as well as in our group, where he actually says Buddha didn't say that. Buddha said about God. He believes in God. So he will be talking on the 17th of August. So we'll all see.
I think when he was asked this question, he did not answer.
Oh,
actually, I think that if you look at the Gospel of Buddha, which I've got a copy here, he believes in an essence that has created this world. He doesn't name it as God,
okay,
but he says that there is an essence that has created this, this universe.
Because
I wanted to invite you to the meeting on the 17th of August, and we can discuss these things there, because the time is over now.
He's on talking about Buddhism, or?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Yes.
Okay then. Thank you very much, and see you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.